Welcome to the Mami Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mami Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mami Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it. We're back, Mami Collective. Paulina here, and I'm so excited for my guest today. It's a blast from the past. I have Sara Robinson here with me. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. So we go back, like what, maybe 15 years ago? I don't even remember at this point.
15? No, you're crazy. How long ago was that?
Okay, maybe 10. 10.
Yeah, maybe 10, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. You're right. Sometimes like people ask like my age or like this, or I'm like, guys, I don't remember. Like I lived a harder lives, I feel. I know, I'm trying. But I'm excited that you're here today. So you are an Airbnb mentor, owner, like mom of 3, doing it all. Yeah. I called you a creative girly earlier off the air because I feel like every time I turn around, like you do the cutest things for your daughters. And at this point I was like, does she have business too? Because like she would definitely make some money doing that, because I do learn a lot from you, whether you know it or not. I get a lot of ideas. I do, because we have girls that's very close in age. Your girls are 2 and 1. And mine is 2. And yeah, you give me a lot of ideas. I'm not going to lie, girl. I'm not creative. Like I don't do crafts, but like you inspire me to.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, I know it's not something everyone is good at, but that is definitely a skill of mine, and I love it. And yeah, I feel like I need to start posting a little bit more, like to help moms like you that just don't naturally have that skill. I got you guys.
Please. No, yeah, I get a lot of ideas from you, and it's like the cutest. Like I love all the stuff, the content that you share. I know content creating is a lot of work, so you do it all. You do it all. So I'm happy that you're here with us today. So Sara, first things first, if you don't mind, can you give a little bit about like a background about yourself, everything that you do, about your family, all that good stuff?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to reconnect with you. Yes. So the way Paulina and I both know each other is we both worked at iHeartRadio together. That was kind of like my first bigger girl job out of college. I got a degree in broadcast journalism, and my dream was to be on air like you. Yeah, so I worked at iHeart, and I was intending to just kind of grind it out and work my way up the ladder to get on air. I worked in the like street team side, marketing side. They had me travel all over to help with their events. I ended up working very closely with Big Boy, if you guys know him from, the morning show in LA, Hip Hop World. And I just found myself feeling very unsatisfied, I guess, and down in terms of like the growth there that I had. I think I was there for maybe 7 years, I want to say, maybe a little bit less. But that growth there, like the journey to get to on air, like next steps, I feel like was so slow unless you were willing to move out of the LA region, which I was willing to compromise on that because of my family life and my relationship. At that point, I had been with my boyfriend for maybe like around the same time, maybe 7-8 years. And I knew he was going to be the one, and I was like, well, damn. And probably the bigger piece to that story is he had a son at 16. So there was a big reason and foundation here in SoCal that wouldn't have been easy or feasible for me to move. So it just wasn't a realistic journey for me. I felt like if I wanted to be on air, you got to move to like a smaller city and kind of climb up that way. So, and simultaneously, my boyfriend at the time graduated college and quickly grew the corporate ladder and was making like 10x the amount of salary that I was making. So I was just, weighing my options and seeing like, damn, is this industry really something that is worth sticking out for, and at the end, I felt like it wasn't the right call for me. So I had another job. I stuck with like the events and marketing world because that's something that interested me. Like I said, I'm pretty good at that. So I started working for the Ronald McDonald charities and I was doing events for them. So it was a big difference from going from iHeartRadio, where it was like big concerts and celebrities and like the most fun job, right? Isn't it a very fun job to go from that to the Ronald McDonald Charities, which has a really beautiful mission, you know, it helps families and children in need. But it was like very sad, and the work environment specifically at the location I worked at was a very toxic, like señora, older women just kind of hating on that new young girl that came in with a lot of enthusiasm kind of vibe. And it just like was really a draining experience there. And I was going home very sad. And I was like literally crying at home all the time, not at home, at my desk job. You know, I was like, damn, am I allowed to cuss on here, girl?
Yeah, girl.
I was like, fuck, I hate this job. So I was like, oh my God, I'm like so unhappy here. And my boyfriend, who's now my fiance at the time, was like killing it at his job, was now like a super big, important role at Tesla. And he was like, I'm making enough money for our family. I want to start investing in real estate, but I don't have the time because of my day job. What do you think if you quit and you focus on running the operations for our rentals?
Okay.
And that is how I got introduced to the real estate world, which is what I do, what my husband and I do full time now. We are full-time owner operators. We now have a coaching program to teach people what we do. But we started in 2020 on this real estate path. And yeah, we've been doing it full time since 2020. He left his job as well. And that's kind of where we're at now. And then, so we had our one son, who's my stepson, and then we had 2 babies over the last 2 years, and it's just full mompreneur life right now. And I look back, Paulina, and thinking of like our time at iHeart and my time at Ronald McDonald and all the random gigs I feel like I was doing during that period of my life to like make extra money, you know, and I'm like, all of those past experiences really set me up to like fucking kill it at what I'm doing right now. And I'm like so grateful that I listened to my intuition and listened to what I'm good at and what my boundaries are, I feel like, in each work experience to get me to where I'm at today. So that's a long spiel. I'm so sorry I talked so long, but I feel like I gave a very thorough perspective of my life.
No, and we love it. And I wanted that because I knew some of this, but not like all the parts. And I love that you kind of took a chance on yourself too, because you're absolutely right. I mean, going back to like iHeartRadio and like that path it's so difficult. Like I'll be so real. You know that like people might not know that way if you're not like internally in it, but it can be difficult. It can be lengthy. And also, like you said, like at some point you're not fulfilled or you're not happy, right? So then you have to ask yourselves, like, what's worth it, right? Like my happiness or this dream that could or couldn't happen, because you also are never guaranteed anything. But I love your story, and I love that you took that chance on yourself. I think that is so important, and especially now being a mom, like I'm sure you look back at it too, and you're like, because if that was like your daughter, right? And I think about my daughter too, I'm like, damn, like, I know, like, everyone wants to follow their dreams, and I'm very for that, but there are days, girl, too, where I'm like, I want my daughter to, like, I want her to go after what she loves, what she knows, but I also feel like at the same time, I'm like, take that risk, girl. Take that risk, you know?
It's a combination of everything, right? It's like following your heart and what you want, but also being understanding that might not be the best journey for you. You know, it's kind of like coming to terms with. It reminds me of like, you know, when you're younger, like my son, he wanted to be a basketball star, you know, he wanted to be in the NBA. And that dream kind of comes down to reality. It's like, did you put in the work these years? Are you tall enough? Did you hustle enough during high school to get to that next step? You know, there's so many pieces that need to fall perfectly to get to that place, you know? And if they didn't, that's okay. But it's time to start thinking of a new path, a new reality for you that you're still happy and looking forward to, but it's okay to shift, you know?
100% agree. So really quick, like going back to 2020, right? kind of entering the real estate world, what was your very first, I'm sure you remember, but like, what was the very first setup like for you? What was the process like? What was the setup? You know what I mean? Like, what did you like learn from that? Because I feel like that had to sort of be like the stepping stone to get started for you.
Yeah, I feel like, I was very intimidated going into the real estate space. I had zero interest in it. It felt like very confusing. Felt like all the people in the real estate space were like 10 times smarter than me. We started to go to conferences. My husband is a talent for a really big podcast platform, a real estate show. And so I was going with him with the intention to like learn and absorb information from other people. And I was very intimidated. I had like big time imposter syndrome for sure. But the reason I was down to do it is because he was initially investing in long-term rental, which is just, the traditional, you rent your home out to a family for a year, 3 years, whatever. And that just wasn't very sexy to me. I feel like I was like, okay, that's boring as hell. Like, we're making $200 from that. And then when he decided to pivot to short-term rentals, AKA Airbnbs, my eyes like lit up. I was like, I know that. I've stayed at Airbnbs. That's vacation. I know that's like experiential. I'm coming from the event space, I felt like I could truly bring value to this strategy. So I was really excited when he decided to pivot. I was like, all in. Yes, let's do it. And what was our very first property was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Do you know where that's at?
No. Is that
near? No, neither of us. We had no idea where that was at, but It's a big national park in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. We bought it sight unseen. So like, just imagine, we bought a fucking cabin. We've never seen it, never been to the city. It was like very scary for us, but so exciting, So we took the trip out there. It was previously short-term rental. So we were just like taking over and re-zhuzhing it up to relist it, We didn't have a ton of money. So we just went to Walmart. We took a trip with that for maybe like 5 days. And our game plan was to go to Walmart. Where else did we go? Like Ross, I think, Home Goods, and just buy cute little chingaderas, like new curtains, new plants, new pillows, new wall art, cute like little thingies to kind of make the space feel like newer again and redesigned. But that process was so fun for me because I was like, oh my God, we're designing a new cabin, and my husband doesn't have any, design experience. He really looked to me to do this. So it was like, I had our card and I had a shopping cart and I was going all in on how to make this cabin come to life and, bring in revenue for our family. So that experience was really, really fun. And what, like, the coolest part of it all is we were engaged at this point, right? So we had our bachelor and bachelorette weekend the day that we took it live. So when you take it live, that means you go live on Airbnb. So behind the scenes for about a month, we've been like fixing it up, doing repairs, finding our cleaners, our handyman, like getting the property ready, right? And when you take it live, you're listing it for somebody to rent now. So we took it live on Airbnb on a Friday, and that just so happened to be the weekend that we went to Vegas for our bachelor and bachelorette weekend. And so it was our first property. We were so excited. We gave each other a kiss. We're like, okay, we hit live. Have a good weekend. We'll see each other on Sunday for the joint, like, girls and guys pool party.
Okay.
We took it live, and we didn't talk. Our rule for that weekend was like, let's not talk to each other until we see each other on Sunday. Come Sunday at the pool party, we were like so hyped because we both had our Airbnb notifications on for the first time, like our first listing. Mm-hmm. Booking after booking after booking after booking was coming in from Friday all the way to Sunday. By Sunday, when we saw each other, it's like crazy. We're engaged. We're so excited. Our Airbnb, we're about to get married. We had generated over $20,000 worth of bookings by the time we saw each other from Friday to Sunday. This was our first listing. So we were like mind blown. You have no idea.
That had to be also like reassuring of being like, okay, like,
oh my God,
we made the right choice. You said,
like, it was like, it was such a high. It was like such an addicting thing. We're like, oh my God, I think this is going to be the thing. Like we all have we all have dreams of getting rich and buying a mansion and, and we're like, that was a moment for us where we're like, oh my God, I think this might be one of the tickets for us to kind of progress us along to the life that we envision for ourselves, you know, and I feel like it was just like a light bulb that went off for us in such a fun environment too, that we like never forget that story about our bachelorette weekend because of this one Airbnb story. Yeah.
I love this story. Oh, that's such a fun, like, it feels like bachelorette party or bachelor party, right? And then I'm making like 20 G's right now with my fiance, and I'm about to meet up with him. Like, it just all fell in so perfectly.
Yeah,
I mean, you said you're never going to forget it. You're never going to forget it. Oh, I love it. So now when you continue to grow, right, and you're getting more properties and you're growing your business, how do you pick your locations? Because you mentioned Tennessee, like, I've never heard of that, but you just said like we got booked the minute we went live. So like, how are you choosing, right, these locations, or like even the property types? Like, how does one choose that when you grow your business?
So my husband is definitely, and the way we work as a team is he's the analytical one. He's the one that does all of the market selection, all of the deal analyzing, all of, you know, the sourcing for the actual properties. And he passes the baton on to me for all things creative and operationally. So he's the one that's finding the markets and the properties and locking in the deals. And then I step in once we're in design mode, setup mode, and then running it. But I will speak for him when I say the way we choose our markets is we specifically like to we specifically look for national parks. So Smoky Mountains is a national park, Joshua Tree is a national park, we actually have a super cute retro motel that's by a national park. So that's always been our strategy, because you hear, right, that there's like a lot of Airbnb restrictions coming down, like in New York, and major cities are coming down on Airbnb restrictions. So we like to focus strategically on national parks because that entire environment and infrastructure relies on travel, right? So, for instance, like in Pigeon Forge in the Smoky Mountains, like there is nothing there other than the fact that it's like where people go to vacation. Like there is, you know, think of like New York or Vegas, big cities, LA, like there's a ton of hotels, there's other ways that city is bringing in revenue from all of the other businesses. But in national parks like Joshua Tree, you know, Zion, it's truly the tourism that is driving in that economy's money. So that's always been our strategy. That's what we personally recommend. Yeah, that's our thing for sure.
I love it. And what about like your growth, right? Did it look pretty consistent from that moment, right, when you guys had that weekend, the bachelor weekend in Tennessee, to like currently, like now? What was the growth like? Was it like, were you growing yearly? Like, how does that work for someone in your industry, like in your field? Like, how would you determine like we're growing, we're successful? Is it because you're adding more, I'm going to say markets, right, but more cities, more properties? What does that look like for you, and what did it look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's subjective and, you know, dependent on you as a person, you know, what are your goals and what does growth look like for you personally? For us, it was truly scaling in terms of property sizes at the time. Oh, okay. I mean, not sizes, property, like the amount of properties we had. So I think by the end of that year, we had 3. So we went from 1 to 3 in like 4 months or so. September, October, November, December. Yeah, like 4 months. So we were scaling so quickly, girl. And then the next year, I think we added like 9. The next year, maybe 12. We were scaling like crazy. It was uncontrollable. We like started the Airbnb journey of ours, like really when Airbnbs were kind of like the gold rush. You know, everyone during COVID was buying Airbnbs, was heading to that, you know, strategy. And I just feel like it was like perfect timing. You know, we kind of went in when it was really hot, and financially we were doing very well, you know, and it was just kind of like the cards kind of fell so perfectly that allowed us to kind of expedite our journey with acquiring properties. And it happened very, very fast for us. Now, currently, that's not what we're looking for. Like our goals kind of pivoted. Like personally, I feel very overwhelmed having that many properties. I think you can still have a lot of success having 3 properties versus I think we have like 26 plus the motel right now. So
that's
if we just had 5, let's say, but it was like five luxury properties that could generate the same revenue. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you could have a different strategy or different goals at different periods of your life. So initially, yeah, our goal was like scale, more properties. And yeah, we're definitely pivoting now to less properties, and most of our properties, we partnered with people. So that was also a huge way we were able to scale. And now we would love to just be fully 100% owners of all the properties, that way all the revenue is just coming to us. So yeah, that was our goals and strategy then versus now.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. And what about like the behind the scenes stuff? Like I know you kind of mentioned a little bit of that, and you sort of said, at least at that time too, or maybe even now, but like your husband's kind of role and then like yours, right? You said he's like the an analytical, I can't even say that word, analytical guy, right? Like he's the one maybe doing market research, this and that. And then you said that you kind of more are like hands-on, or like you are the one like boots on the ground, right? Kind of getting these properties ready and stuff like that. But what other behind the scenes stuff goes down? I'm assuming it could be anything from like customer service to, I don't know, like the toilet broke or something,
Yeah. So yeah, behind the scenes stuff that doesn't come like top of mind. I feel like my husband does all of the bookkeeping, all of the taxes, all of the insurance, like all of the very grown-up, scary, important stuff that is very confusing to me. Either he handles or works with our CPA and bookkeepers to get handled. I'm like copied on all those emails, but I'm far removed because I'm like, what? There's things like cost segregation and flood insurance and like just things that I'm like not knowledgeable enough to even be a part of those conversations. So I trust him. He's skilled at that. He's informed enough to handle those and make those decisions on his own. And I trust him. And then in the inverse, what I handle that he is unaware of or doesn't take part in is like hiring and firing all of our employees. So that's all of the housekeepers, all of the handymen, all of the general contractors and random plumbers and other people that we have to hire, all of the inventory that we have to order on a daily, weekly basis, scheduling staff, handling all the repairs. Like if I'm handling $5,000 plumbing situation, he doesn't know anything of it. I just tell him, hey, this is a really big bill that's coming up that we have to pay for, kind of conversation, but I just handle it from start to finish. Yeah, I would say those are pretty much the behind the scenes things. Yeah, or like today, one of my employees called off that handle all of the guest communication, which is very, very rare. So I have to step in and be on top of my phone to check all of the messaging. So essentially I'm like the front desk, just using my phone for our hotel because there's no employee that works there. It's all self-check-in. But typically I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines handling all of those messages and phone calls, but she just called out. And I'm like, damn, now I got to look at my phone and talk to all these people. But yeah, Tony has no idea that she even called off because that's my world. That's what I handle.
Yeah, you guys seem like you're a really solid team. Yeah. And I love that, especially because, like, you're married and, like, they always, like, say, like, don't mix business and pleasure. But it's like, well, I feel like you might even agree. Like, I feel like my husband, like, if anyone knows me, it's him. And I feel like you guys do make a really, really good team. I have to say that.
Yeah. Thanks, girl. Yeah, I feel, I think we have a coaching program too. And I think we attract a lot of couples looking to do this kind of a business with their spouse as well. And they're like, how do you do it? And I don't know. I feel like your relationship more than you can't learn. Like you guys know whether you guys would be a good business partner together or you won't, Only you guys will know that, and I think there's like different tips that we can help try to get you guys to trust each other and really figure out your roles within the business and respecting those boundaries. But ultimately, I think it's something you guys have to identify and understand between yourselves as individuals and partners is like, do you really think you'd be a good partner or they'd be a good partner for you, And yeah, I think that's just something you guys got to figure out.
Yeah, super valid. Do you guys ever bump heads or like have you ever had like a moment in business where you were kind of like...
Yeah, for sure. Just early on, I feel like when we first started and we were really scaling and he was like locking in deals like crazy and I was getting over because I'm the one designing them, setting them up, getting them listed, working with our cleaners. So, and then when you get a deal, it takes like a month to 2 months to close the deal, you know? So his job was kind of staggered slowly. You know, he would lock in one deal. It would take 2 weeks to get, you know, offer accepted. Right. And that transition or that workload was much slower versus like, okay, yeah, we got the property. You need to design it, find a team, order all the furniture, go set it up. Like my workload started to kind of compound very quickly while his was like very slow. So I feel like that caused a bit of tension. I'm like, hey, bro, can you ease up a little bit? Like, let me finish house 2 and 3 before buying 7 and 8, you know, like, totally. Or we need to hire more help. Like we need to find out, like, I can't keep moving at the speed that you're moving. So that was definitely like a little bit of conflict at first. And then one big one that I always tell the story is I like kept coming to him for help. Like whenever like a guest complained about something and I was like, oh my God, like this guest is asking for 50% refund. Like, what do you think? And he was getting so irritated with me. He's like, I trust you. Just handle it. Like whatever you decide and you feel is the best call for us and the business. Like that's your world. Just handle it. And like when he told me that, I was like, I remember being so like annoyed. I was like, ew, rude. Like I'm just asking for your fucking help, bro. Right. But I understood what he meant. Like I'm handling this shit. That's your world. Like I trust you. Even if you make the wrong call, it's not the end of the world. Like think of like your job at iHeart. You know, it's like, are you going to go to your coworker every time you need to make a decision? Be like, hey, do you think I should do this or this? You know, it's like, that's your role. Just do it. Whatever you feel is in the best interest of your job and business, make the call, you know? So I feel like it was me really like in his previous job, you know, was a leader and had a high role. I feel like I didn't have as much responsibility yet, especially I started to like manage a bunch of people, you know, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not only managing like the customer side of things, I'm managing like our employees now. It was like a whole new world for me that just felt like very heavy and like so much responsibility. But yeah, I feel like he taught me like, I trust you and like go for it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I mean, like I would have been annoyed too at that moment. Like, okay, bro, like just help me out here. But I can see how that also probably helped you then become more confident in 100%. Your decision making, right?
Yeah. So like I said, now like the plumbing example, I know better, you know, like I'll handle it and I'll just tell you, hey, we have a big bill coming, you know, versus like coming to him for everything that I would need to question.
Totally. You mentioned like outsourcing, right? And having help when it comes to the business. Where do you kind of do that specifically that you live in Southern California, right? So like you have properties, I would say, was it all over the US and then some are sort of?
Yeah. So we have some in Joshua Tree, which is about, you know, an hour and a half away. And then some in Tennessee, some in Utah. Yeah. But so we're definitely
always, like, be there.
No, not at all. It's very rare when we even go to Joshua Tree.
Really? But, okay. I have to go there actually. So I'll probably rent from you because I've always wanted to go. I've just never been. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's cool.
I love that. So how do you sort of find the right help, right? Or the people that are helping you sort of like boots on the ground, like they're on site. Do you have that? Or is it more like just the virtual help that you mentioned that sort of handle that part?
So no, definitely you need boots on the ground, and your key players in the Airbnb space are your cleaner and your handyman. Like without a good cleaner and a good handyman, like it's really tough to do the business remotely the way we do. But once you identify a really solid, trustworthy, reliable, communicative house cleaner, they typically know a handyman or vice versa. Yeah, but once you have those two key players, you're pretty much set, you know? You just communicate via text or phone. And then when you are like large enough to hire additional help, like our virtual assistants that I mentioned, it really makes sense to bring on that extra support. That way you're not glued to your phone. Like I mentioned, my bachelorette weekend, right, was the beginning of our Airbnb journey. Maybe a year later, I want to say a year and a half later, was my sister's bachelorette party. And we didn't have the VA team yet, but we had, I think, 14 properties at that time. And I was completely managing those. So all the cleaners, handyman, inventory, invoices, all the guest communication, AKA I was glued to my phone. Like I had to be on my phone at all times, responding to every message, every inquiry, every question, and everything, you know? And that's when it really made sense for us to bring on that additional help and really have VAs on the team to manage all of that for me. So I would say if you have just a handful of properties, it's manageable to do on your own. But if you're really looking to scale, or even if you do have just a few properties and you just don't want to be the person responding, it is very much okay and, very easy to hire that additional help for a few hours. That way you don't have to be so tied to your phone at all times.
That's great advice. Yeah, I feel like you're right. There becomes a point, and I feel like you'll know when that is. I'm assuming like you hit a certain point of like, it's time to sort of grow this team or get some help, even if it is like the virtual assistant. Cause like, you're right. I would have never thought of that part. Like if I owned, I don't know, 10 properties, I'm making that up. But like, and my phone's going off all day. Like that's a full-time job in itself right here,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. So your journey started 2020 with the Airbnbs. And then I want to say maybe 2023, you welcomed your first daughter.
Yes.
And I love it. And then you had a daughter after that. So you, my friend, I love you, girl. You're a little crazy, but you make it so effortless. And I love it. And I love that your girls are like a year apart. That warms my heart so much. So how has not only has life like changed, but how has your business mentality changed? Since I know you were already a mom, but like becoming like the mom of two littles now, right? So on top of that, you have like two kids in diapers. Sure. And like a lot happening. How does your mentality change when it comes to business?
I think I'm just like much more protective of my time now. Like you said, I'm just like a very creative girl, and I was down for all the projects, and I am like a super intentional mom and try to be as present as possible. So things like looking at my phone when I really don't need to look at it is something that I really try to focus on. Yeah. So I think my mentality since having my babies is just protecting my time a lot more than I think I ever have. So even things like in our personal life, like it's expensive to hire a cleaner, it's expensive to hire a nanny, right? But we've decided like that additional cost is worth it because it gives us our time to focus on things that are more important. So yeah, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that I can call out is just protecting my time has definitely been something I've noticed.
Yeah, that's so important. And I love that you said that because I've always felt the same. I'm like, I will not, and I haven't gotten my nails done because I'm like, all right, we're not doing it this month. But I got someone to clean the house just because I'm like, I would rather put my
spend
energy.
that $100, 100%. I'm not a nail girly because of that sentiment. One, the time, two, the money. I'm like, it takes how long to get your nails done? I hate that. Two, the money. I'm like, how much am I supposed to spend every month to get my nails done? Like, I'm okay. I would rather put that into, paying my nanny extra for a date night or, like the nails is like one for me that I'm like, I'm not that girl.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Same. And I hate, like you said, spending time there. I wish I could drop my hands off. Can't do that. So, not going to happen. I completely agree. What do you feel like is next for you in the next upcoming years? Do you feel like you're going to keep growing, scaling? Do you want more bebés? Like, what does Sara want in the next, like, let's say 5 years or so? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, I really do love the Airbnb space. One thing that we also started to do during our journey is to host events to teach people. So aside from the actual coaching, we started to do retreats and big like conferences. And I love, it's kind of like both of my worlds, right? I come from the events and marketing space and the Airbnb space. And it was like a blend of both my knowledge and experience and skills all in one. So we kind of put a pause on all of our events because I was pregnant back to back and didn't have the energy to do that. But I would love to kind of pick back up on our event side of things for the Airbnb space. And also, I just love creating content. I feel like I really love sharing all sides of my life. I feel like I love sharing my wifey side, my mom side, my business side, my creative side. Like I just am one of those people that truly enjoys making content. And I kind of want to dive more into that world, specifically like in the lifestyle space. Like I know I kind of grew a following because of my Airbnb journey, but I just want to show, I feel like people have stuck around because I do show so many sides of me and my life, not just the Airbnb side. So I kind of want to just focus more on on creating content that kind of just shows my life and all that I do. So that's kind of where I want to focus right now.
I love it. I mean, yeah, that's sort of one of my favorite things about you is that you're very like multifaceted. I can't say any words today. I swear to God, my brain is fried. But I feel like there's so many sides to you. And I mean, I've always known you to be like that, but now like you're right, seeing you like with your business and it's obviously so thriving, and then your mom content and everything in between. It's like, I love women and moms who really like pour into themselves and like really let like all their sides show. I don't know, you've never dimmed your light to begin with ever as the Sara that I knew, right, 10 years ago. But I love seeing growth and I love seeing like this side of you. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, thanks, girl. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like you are, very similar to me, where we don't want to lose ourselves as individuals because we became moms and wives, right? It's like you can juggle it all and still be like a bad boss bitch and, just do so many things. I feel like when you're younger, you kind of hear that you kind of just become a mom and your life changes when you have a baby. And it's like, it does change, but it doesn't mean like your whole life becomes just mom, and it's, you can still be and do so many things, and I feel like I am very much encompassing that mindset and want to show that across my socials to inspire other moms to kind of have that same mentality.
You absolutely have. And like literally what you said earlier of like, I'm an intentional mom. You are showing other moms, even myself, that you can have a thriving business. You can make time to create content and time to spend with your girls, right? Your kids. Yeah. You truly do all of that. Like, yes, I'm sure, are the days hard for you? Are they long? Of course. Yeah. You know what I mean? Of course. But I think you're killing it. And I really hope that, you do know that you would inspire a lot of moms. And that's why I was like, I hope she comes on the pod. I really hope she comes to talk to me.
Yes, of course. That's so cool that you started this.
Thank you. It's been really fun. I love it. I love moms just sharing their story, shooting the shit, you know what I mean? And then kind of just hopefully inspiring other people. Yeah. Before we go, what piece of advice would you give a mom that is listening right now who, and I'm going to tap into your expertise, but like a mom who is interested in doing the Airbnb route, like very similar to yours. It's 2026 when we're recording this, so I know times are a little bit different from when you started, but if you were to give one piece of starting advice, if I'm like, hey, Sara, girl, I'm going to do this. Where do I start? What should I do? What would you tell that mom?
I honestly would say go to an event. Go to an in-person short-term rental event. There are a lot of them. Google them, follow me, DM me, and ask me, because we have a lot of friends in the space that host other short-term rental events. But truly, for me, someone that was very intimidated, had big imposter syndrome getting into the space, had zero knowledge before getting into it, I learned so much and really felt so motivated and inspired by being in a room filled with people that wanted to do the same thing and hearing their success stories, like just like mine, but you're hearing it all day, every day for 3 days, as long as the event is going. It like lights a fire within you to really feel like, holy shit, I think I can do this, and I feel like you've heard that quote, you're the average of the 5 friends you hang out with or whatever. Like if no one in your personal life does this, it's going to feel impossible, right? It's going to feel so scary and too risky. But if you start putting yourself in rooms and in conversations with people that do this, it starts to feel a little bit more real and feasible. So my biggest advice is go in person to events of whatever. Let's say it's not even Airbnbs, whatever you're interested in. Let's say starting a party rental business. There's events for everything, go in person, feel that energy of those people that are doing what you want to do. And I promise you, it will translate and get into your soul to fuel you to take those next steps.
I love that advice. I would have never thought of that, but I think that is necessary. And also to like, starting anything is a big commitment financially, right? Like with your time. So I feel like that's a great way to even, like you said, to kind of see, is this what I want to do? Am I feeling 100%?
And to get you out of your comfort zone, I feel like growth doesn't happen if you're comfortable. You need to like kind of put yourself out there. Going to an event is already scary. So that's like, you're already pushing yourself. You're already growing in that way. But then also taking the next steps to converse with those people. That's a little bit more growth, surrounding yourself with that mindset. And then after leaving the event, I promise you, you'll feel like that fuel, like, oh my God, come on, let me take whatever next steps I just learned at the event. And it just kind of snowballs, So yeah, I truly felt that shift within me from attending events. And that's like my biggest advice always is attend an event in real life for whatever you're wanting to start. And I promise it'll start something within you.
I love it. Sarah, thank you for being here with us today. Where can we follow you? If a mom wants to DM you, just chat with you, where can we do that?
Yes, I'm most active on Instagram. I love to connect with people. I'm very responsive. So my Instagram is at Sara, Sara, Rad, R-A-D, Robinson, Robinson. Yeah, and then we can stay connected. I hope to get in touch with your following, Paulina. Like I said, I'm so proud of you from the young girl that I met. You were such a fun little fireball back then. So to see all the growth that you've had and seeing you transform into such a beautiful wife and mom too is like so freaking cool. I'm so proud of you. And yeah, I love to see that you've blossomed into this version of you.
Thank you. And same to you. Like I said, I love that you and I were able to keep in touch and even through social media, like obviously we're not in the same city anymore, but it's so cool that we have social to keep in touch this way.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love seeing you grow. I love your girls. They're adorable. You have the cutest family ever.
Thank you.